Hi everyone, and welcome to this video in which I'm going to be talking about what it means if you have Saturn in the second house in your birth chart. Now, with Saturn in the birth chart, wherever it is, we're going to experience a kind of restriction and a kind of difficulty accessing that energy in whatever house and sign that is placed. Like, that's going to be something that's difficult for us. And it's going to be an opportunity to build and create and to overcome and integrate the lessons that Saturn has for us. However, this does not happen overnight. This is not something that we do really quickly. This takes a long time, typically. And where Saturn is, you're going to face a lot of challenges, yeah, and it's not going to come easy for you. It's also an area of your life that you're going to be very serious about as well. So Saturn is, representative of structure and also discipline. Saturn is Father Time, the Lord of Karma. Saturn represents the harvest, also boundary, the outer limit of what is possible, structure and reality. So these are all Saturnian things. Saturn is about, with Saturn in the second house, with second house matters. You're going to have to face restrictions and difficulty and learn to overcome, and there's going to be a lot of challenges there. So basically, second house, this is, your personal values. It's what you hold dear, it's what you desire, and it's also your income as well. It's what you require as well. Like, it's your needs, and also it's your self-worth. So the second house is self-worth. If you have an afflicted second house, then you could well have self-esteem issues or a feeling of not being worthy. And this is a central theme here for Saturn in the second house, this feeling of not feeling worthy at all. Second house, because of its Taurus connection, it's associated with comfort, stability, and home as well. So I've been thinking about this video for a couple of weeks now, and I know a few people who have Saturn in the second house, and I've been thinking about what the common thread between them is. So this is, I would say, Saturn in the second house, there is a restriction on self-esteem. There is a restriction on feeling worthy. There is a restriction on paying attention often to your own needs and desires. So I feel with Saturn in the second house, there's almost like I'm not saying almost, yeah, there often is a sense of guilt that comes up when it comes to thinking about their own needs. They might think, well, who am I to think about what I want and what I need and to focus on that? Who am I to spend my money on myself and build up a life for me? Because that's selfish, so that could be a Saturn in the second house kind of thing. So not being confident with these second house affairs. So it could be like a sense of like, well, others have it worse, so who am I to think about my own needs? Who am I to build up my own resources and make things nice for myself when other people have it worse? Like, I can't be selfish, I can't be vain, I can't be focusing on my own comfort and my own needs because others have it worse. So this is a Saturn in second house kind of thing to say. And so not confident and not comfortable with focusing on the self and their own needs. Often this is the case. And it could also be like, from a material point of view, like feeling guilty spending money or time on yourself, but also it could be like your values and your opinions. You might not value them very much. You might be like, well, other people's thoughts, opinions, and feelings are very important. They matter, they're important, but not my own. No, those aren't important. So that can be another second house kind of thing, because it's not just material stuff, it's also values. So that's a big thing here, you know. And yeah, definitely pervading sense of guilt. I really believe that. So Saturn wants you to build and overcome. So there's probably going to be a lot of painful experiences when it comes to these kind of themes. And probably eventually Saturn in the second house people might get so sick of neglecting their own needs and comfort and desires that it becomes very painful, and they have no choice but to rectify that part of their life and be like, you know what, I have to make some changes here, and I have to put myself first sometimes, you know. So I was going to say something there. What was it? Second house, other people first. Yeah, no. So basically, Saturn in the second house people, you may have grown up poor. You might not have grown up poor, but either way, there's like a poverty of um, actual, like an actual poverty, or poverty of the mind, as in you might have been raised to believe that, you know, like you're not deserving, or you shouldn't focus on your own uh, stuff that you need. So there could be a sense, with one Saturn and second house person I know, they you know, they were raised like always think about the other person before you, put the other person's needs before your own, you know. So they were raised to feel guilty considering their own needs and thinking about what they want, spending money and time on themselves, because they were made to believe that that's wrong, you know. So Saturn in the second house kind of stuff right there, you know. Self-esteem, you know, there's a restriction on it, you know. Sense of self-worth when it comes to these second house things, there's a restriction there, you know. And yeah, in adult life, you you might lack for comfort, you might lack for security. I would say Saturn in the second house people, they actually are very serious about money and finance. That's the thing. I think it doesn't necessarily come easy. However, they are serious about it, and they are also very pragmatic with their money, and really thrifty, and they know how to save and put away a bit of money. It doesn't come easily to them though. Like, they have to work really hard at it. But the Saturn in the second house, it makes them serious about money, especially if they grew up like maybe not having so much, you know. So yeah, definitely feel that. So as well, you know, because the second house with its Taurus connections, it's, you know, comfort and stability and security, home, you know, it's sensual kind of energy, and it is about, you know, things that provide you a sense of security and peace and tranquility and fulfillment. Second house, you yeah, like your actual living conditions, like it can be uncomfortable because you could neglect the things that would provide you comfort. And you know, I know someone who slept on a sofa for years. It sounds like they didn't have a bed. You know, if you say someone slept on a sofa for years, it would sound like they're homeless. No, they had a bed. They just chose not to sleep in it because, oh, it's out of the way. That room isn't very nice. Oh, I'll just sleep on the sofa. So I think that is a very Saturn in the second house thing, because, you know, it's like you know, comfort, security, and you know, the Taurus energy, and Saturn is like kind of cold and restrictive, so it's like, nah, you know. So I think that was kind of interesting. That that brings me to another point where it's like, yeah, this is what I meant to say earlier and I forgot. It was that you may, you know, second house, you know, this is like, you know, money, income, values and stuff. So if you have a restriction here, it might be that you don't know what you want. It might be that you do know what you want, but you can't afford it. Again, this is also Saturn in the second house. And it might be that you know what you want, you can have it, but you don't, because even though there's nothing standing in your way, you're just like, I'm okay with being uncomfortable. I'm okay with not getting the things that I know that I want or I deserve and that I need, or that would make my life better, or that would make me more comfortable. There might not actually be anything standing in your way between, like I'm saying, yourself and comfort and being able to get the things that you want. But you just sometimes maybe you're the person that stops it, because Saturn in the second house, there's a feeling of being undeserving of these second house values. So even though there's nothing actually stopping you outside, you maybe stop yourself, So as well, I would say that yeah, so this is like old programming. I would say, like, like I'm saying, feeling unworthy, feeling that you shouldn't put your own needs first ever, or feeling guilty for exploring or communicating like what it is that you want and what you need, and being able to express that value in yourself and be like, I'm worth this much and I want that to be recognized. So there's a guilt there, even if you feel like you've maybe been taken advantage of. There's a guilt, and it's so difficult to, like, even the person might well be aware, you know, um, this is not fair for me. This is not a fair situation for me. But they might find it very, very hard to break out of that situation anyway, even if they know and even if they're frustrated. And I think that's that real Saturn lesson. It's like, it's like that kind of those kind of situations that they hurt, and they can go on for so long before the person changes. And that's like that real Saturn alchemy right there. Like, that's the old programming. It hurts too much to continue with that, so you have to adapt and change. And I think this is like how Saturn helps us grow. I would say, yeah, it's like, even though they are like, it's like very serious about money, and this is one of their really good traits. However, I feel that another one of their traits is, what I've noticed, is that they can be very, very generous. And you think, well, Saturn in the second house, why would that make a person generous? Well, if they're finding it hard to focus, spend time or money or attention on the things that they want, they need, the things they value, the things they desire and stuff, if they find that very difficult, the chances are they will focus on people and things that are not them. They might focus on the opposite house. If there's a restriction on second house, they could focus on the opposite. Eighth house, other people's opinions, other people's problems, other people's money, other people's baggage, So a Saturn in the second house person, they could be like, well, I'm being really nice here. I'm helping someone. I'm helping people. I'm spending all my time and all my money on helping someone else who might not even appreciate it. They might not even appreciate it at all. But the second house Saturn person, they could just find it so difficult to focus on their own, like building themselves up and focus on their own needs, wants, and desires, that because it's so uncomfortable, they avoid it and they instead focus the spotlight on someone else, So I would say that, like, because like these people can be taken advantage, they can get taken advantage of because I think when someone, and not everyone, but I think most people with Saturn in the second house, you probably will struggle with some self-esteem or self-worth issues, feeling that you're not deserving. And some people can pick up on that. Some people will be able to pick up on that. And not everyone out there is nice, right? So if you got this low self-esteem and you're finding it hard to spend time and money on yourself, there's people that are quite happy to take advantage of that. So Saturn in the second house people, like, they are serious about their money and they're thrifty and they're intelligent with money. However, there's a back door open, that as serious as they are, because of this low self-esteem, back door's wide open, right? It's like a security breach. I feel that regardless of how much they might think regardless of how serious they are of their money, someone comes along and you see the self-esteem issues and everything like that, they can take advantage of of this person. And you know, it's like Saturn second house people, they might be like, well, I'm being nice, I'm helping people, but it's like, if you're neglecting your own needs, if you're neglecting your own values, your own stuff that you desire, and you know, and you're not valuing yourself and putting yourself first ever, then you're not showing up for yourself. Even if you're showing up for other people, is that really such a good thing if you're not showing up for yourself, you know? So Saturn in the second house, really, you're really being called to get comfortable with, you know, knowing that you're worth it. So that's what I would say to Saturn in the second house person, is that you are worth it. The things that your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, your desires, they matter, okay, just as much as anyone else's. You know, don't keep feeling guilty for don't let guilt stop you from asserting yourself, asserting like what you're worth and what you need, and you know, boundaries as well, you know, and so that you don't, you know, get taken advantage of. So that's what I would say, like, you have to understand that you are worth it, and that second house stuff, it's not so scary, you know, and it's nothing to feel like guilty about, you know, spending money on yourself, time on yourself, like that sort of thing. So yeah, that's what I would say for this video. If you liked it, please leave a comment, please leave a like, hit the bell icon. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.